I'm Lauren, that awkward plant girl. Welcome back to my channel. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you guys for popping in. Oh my gosh. Don't forget to subscribe if you're all about the planty awesomeness. And today is going to be part 2 of my terrarium maintenance. It was supposed to be just one, but that went a little longer. There was more maintenance than I had anticipated. So we are going to be finishing that up today. Also, happy Saturday. Yay! At least it's Saturday morning for me. So I've got my coffee, I've got my cozy clothes on, and we're just going to have some fun with the terrariums. So I've got to propagate a Peperomia terrarium, I've got to chop up and propagate my Fittonia propagation terrarium. I've got a big terrarium I'm working on. I'm just trying to get as many propagations going as possible to be able to put in there and fill it up. You will be seeing that shortly. I'm very excited for that. And I've got some pilea down in a tank as well that just needs some chopping and some pruning. My little fern terrarium down there needs a little bit of maintenance. The biggest maintenance happened in part 1 where I actually had to remove a couple of plants. Actually, I think it was just one. No, it was a couple of plants. I had a begonia and some scindapsus, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you want to see a little bit more extreme terrarium makeover, then definitely go and check that one out. These terrariums have already been designed. They have already been situated. I've got a whole playlist of them if you haven't seen them before. It's a little bit more relaxing, less upbeat, but still very informative. If you want to make one of these fish tank terrariums for yourself, definitely go check some of those out. And let's play with some plants. Alright, first up is this propagation terrarium. This is just Fittonia and pilea. They propagate very, very easily in here. And Fittonia that I'm chopping up right here are very fun to propagate because they basically have a set pattern in how they're going to grow. They'll get bushy wherever you chop them. They'll divide into 2, and then they also do vertical, horizontal as far as the leaf shapes go. So you can kind of see here, this is one that I've chopped before, and it decided to push out 2 different sides there. And basically I'm just going to chop all of these and then stick them right back in here and make this a more full looking terrarium. Then we can pull the propagations out later or just take more cuttings of them as we go. It's actually really, really awesome setup. Can't recommend it enough. And Fittonia add a really nice pop of color in a variety of colors to any terrarium. They can grow in normal conditions. They're just not as happy in normal conditions. And if you give them more light, they will become more creeping across the ground. But they're pretty amazing plants. And you can see here they've got like electric lightning bolt looking thing going on. Kind of giving me orchid vibes a little bit. I think that is everything, and here I put all of them back in. You saw me grabbing all of those and I just stuck them back in here for you. Yeah, I think it looks really nice and really full. There's going to be a lot of propagations to come from here. And this is a pilea. I think it's a dark mystery pilea, but very shiny, very silver. And then we've got a friendship pilea back here and a Moon Valley pilea. And it's all just kind of propagating itself like crazy. I don't even have to chop and prop the pilea, so very awesome. Alright, this fern terrarium is very, very exciting. There's a lot going on in here. I've got a philodendron peeking out up the top back there. I've got this giant fern in the middle. I mounted it on a stick and it took off like crazy, so much so that it's actually crinkling at the top when it's not supposed to. It's a staghorn fern. I think I might have to take those little things out back there with the string of hearts. And then I've got a little bit of fungus going on with that crocodile fern, so I've got to treat that and remove that. And then I think maybe we'll take some cuttings of the salaginilla. And this pilea, also known as an aluminum plant, has just gone bonkers in here. Oh my gosh. So we're gonna clean this up a little bit. Alright, so let's take a look at what we've got going on in here. Here is that pilea. It totally went crazy. It actually ended up dividing. I stuck one little tiny 2-leaf propagation in here, guys, like less than 2 months ago. So this has just blown my mind. Like, I just can't believe how much it's grown. And the salaginilla is literally climbing the walls. And I think there's an eyelash fern down there that didn't make it. I think I'm going to get some isopods at some point and stick them in here. And here's more of that salaginilla. This is the frosty fern, I believe, is the special name for it. But yeah, you can see all the aerial roots, and it's pale underneath. It's a really pretty plant. Really enjoy it. Okay, so let me try to get down here. I think everything's good. I think we just got to get into it. So I'm going to use alcohol and rubbing alcohol and sanitize these, and then we'll start chopping. And let's just go to town on this pilea. I'm going to cut it in little segments, and that way it can kind of bush out as it grows. It looks like there's quite a few aerial roots on this already, so I'm not too worried about it growing like that. I think I'm going to just propagate most of it, but it's really cool. You can see how it's got a creeping habitat. You can see how this would be an invasive plant under the right conditions. A lot of people don't really think of pilea as invasive, but you can see all their little roots. They kind of grow like a tomato is how I think of it. They've got little fur on their stem there, and it just grows like crazy. And then this, I don't want any issues to come from these being up against the glass. This is a staghorn fern, I believe. So we're just going to go ahead and chop some of these off. I'm going to try to keep it smaller through trimming. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I'm hoping it'll at least last until it gets its first big frond down there. That's going to protect it and give it nutrients and whatnot, and then maybe I'll pull that stick out, I'm not sure. But for now, let's just get some of this propagated. Oh, with the staghorn fern as well, I wanted to mention that you cannot propagate it by anything other than spores and separation of pups. So those leaves that I took, unlike the pilea here, we're not going to be able to propagate it. I will just have to throw those away. And I'm just going to put this pilea right back in there. And then you can see there's a little extra one there. I'm just going to kind of shove that one in there as well. And that's it. And then it just grows. That's all I did before. And then it'll just grow like crazy, like you saw. Let's tackle this fungus issue. I've got these shears super sanitized. I've got a little cup of alcohol out there, and I'm just going to kind of wipe down the leaves after I move everything that seems to have this fungus on them. I'm going to wipe down the leaves with a little bit of a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol, and hopefully that'll kill everything. I don't have a fungicide with me today, so we're just going to have to roll with it. And then over here is that philodendron that's gone crazy. I don't really want to chop it, so I think I'm going to just stuck it right down here, and then hopefully it'll go across. I'll remove the little baskets, and then it'll just climb across. This did not make it. I don't know if I liked the basket idea. It was worth a try, but it doesn't seem to have worked out very well like I'd hoped. I do have like a whole care thing on Ceropegia. They grow on the side of cliff faces, so I thought this would work out really well. And for these two it did, but for, I don't know, it didn't really work well. And then it got some mold on it. I think this is going to be happier in the new terrarium. I'll just take it out of here and rinse it off and everything. Maybe give it some new sphagnum and see what I can do. And then this is where I ended up putting this philodendron. It's actually grown so quickly, and it's just a standard philodendron heteroecium. But this guy back here was a fantastic surprise. I did not expect him when I moved him. So you could see he's just kind of climbed behind everything. Like, I did not put any Salaginella very close to the back corner here. I'm trying to see where he came from here. Like, where did you come from? There we go. So he came all the way down from there, all the way from over here, and snaked his way all the way up and out the dang tank. And this is where he started. Like, oh my gosh, this guy went crazy, just all over the place. Whoa. So unfortunately, I am going to have to chop him. I'm just going to do it in little segments. So, and he is very tiny, and it's very hard for me to kind of get in there and have the camera in there at the same time, so I apologize for that. I am trying to show you how I'm cutting it in different little segments because I don't want to destroy any of the delicate foliage, and I'm going to end up having to cut this into two instead of pulling out a long one. So it looks like they're all going to be short, like 1.5–2 inches. You can see it's got all these little aerial roots on it. This is going to grow really, really well in my new terrarium. I'm so excited for these propagations. Like, oh my gosh. And this is the one that's called a blue peacock fern, I believe. But they're actually not a moss. They're not a fern. They're what's called a fern ally. So they're also part of the resurrection fern family. So if you've heard of those, that is the same family. And then let's go down here. I've got this dead leaf down here. I don't have any springtails or isopods or anything in here to take out the dead foliage. I do want to get them so that they can eat the extra mycelium and all of the dead decaying matter in here. Not all the mycelium, but some of it. It's getting a little out of control in here, and I keep having to scoop it out and whatnot. So, a little too much. But let me get this dead stuff out of here. And I wanted to show you little baby ferns unfurling. You can see how the roots are going crazy, and they're going to be making more. Alright, now this is the Peperomia one. I wanted to show you guys, it's popping out of the tank just like the fern one was, and these other two are actually going to be hitting the top soon. So I've got a watermelon Peperomia, and then this one over here is Peperomia incana, a felted Peperomia. We've got scandens back there. And then I'm not sure what kind this is. Some type of caparata, maybe red ripple caparata. And then this is the parallel Peperomia, I believe. I might be mixing up the names on that one. And this is a variegated caparata, also known as Peperomia freckles, if you want to look that one up. I just love it. They are starting to get like all bendy a little bit. Oh, this is the Peperomia scandens mint variegata, I believe. And then I've got some Peperomia napoleonite down there, piccolo banda, a string of turtles. This is Peperomia elongata. The leaves are starting to curl, and it's starting to lose these two leaves, one of which has been over a year old and the other one exceeds 6 months. So I'm not worried about the yellowing. And then this one, this is not a fungus or anything. It's actually Peperomia piccolo banda. This is the peacock Peperomia, and it has a natural variegation on it. So it's actually really cool. And then I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to remove all of these and show you what I've got going on. With this Peperomia elongata one, it's actually kind of a rare Peperomia, so I've been wanting to take cuttings for a while. It's got quite a bit of foliage now. It does need a CalMag supplement, so that's why it's kind of cranky looking. But yeah, everything in here is looking really great. Kind of straighten things out here. Just trying to get a little cutting here and a little cutting there. Just kind of trim everything down a bit. There we go. Then this is a Peperomia pink lady. And then a watermelon Peperomia because he's going to hit the top there. And then this is our little haul. I'm going to make a separate video, like a little short for you on how to propagate Peperomia because I have a whole other video on that. And then here is all of the terrariums. I think this is going to be done for terrarium maintenance for now. I'm working on that other terrarium and now I've just got to work on these propagations. But all of these look so much better. What do you think? Let me know. It's always nice and it feels good to kind of give the space a little bit of an uplift. Plus it's nice to be able to look at these terrariums and not feel all sad that they look all sad inside and feel like I'm neglecting them and not giving them love. I'm also very excited to have extra propagations for my big terrarium build. So it's definitely really awesome. Lots of fun stuff. I have lots more planty videos coming up. I'm not coming up with the names off the top of my head right now. But definitely more planty awesomeness on the way. Make sure you subscribe. Check out our Discord. I am so freaking excited to see so many of you guys on there. It's always really nice getting to meet you guys and getting to chat with you guys on there. So definitely check that out. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you for watching.